Hi, this is Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextral Gunfighter. Well, it should be clear by now that I'm a huge fan of the Springfield Armory Hellcat, as probably one of the best CCW pistols ever made, perhaps. Today I'm going to look at some holsters. Now, normally I'm a big fan of pocket carry. I like the convenience and ease of donning a pocket carry holster versus, say, inside the waistband. But here I am to kind of push the limits, challenge myself a little bit, and try out two inside the waistband holsters. One is the Desante Slim Tuck. The other is the Boraii Halcyon. Now this one has the claw on it to help tuck the pistol grip in. Now let's start with just go over some stats here real quick. The Halcyon with the claw on it weighs 3.1 ounces. Now I am not a fan of the claw. I found that just really awkward, and so I would get rid of that. And if you get rid of the claw, it weighs 2.6 ounces. So that's I'm going to actually look at this more from the idea that the claw, we're not going to use it. The Desante Slim Tuck weighs 2.2 ounces, so it is a little bit lighter. Now the other thing is we want to look at the width. Now looking at the width from where the belt loop goes in, on the Desante Slim Tuck, it is 1.33 inches thick, and the Boraii inside the waistband holster, because it's not actually it's actually the belt rides up against the holster body itself, the Kydex. It is a little bit narrower. It is 1.23 inches thick, so a little bit thinner. But this one, I've got this set up right now with the cant just a little bit. If I run it more vertical, where this hook can fit into there, it really becomes about the same thickness overall. In fact, if you look at the thickness just of the holster itself, they are almost identical. Almost identical. So now the other dimension that may be of concern is the width. The width of the Desante is 3.06 inches, and the width of the Boraii is quite a bit bigger, and it's 3.7 inches, and that's not including the claw. So I think the Desante, being a little bit smaller, is going to be more comfortable, especially for like appendix carry, or for if it's you're holstering, running the holster kind of the curvature of areas of your body rather than more flat areas. I think this could benefit by a little bit of rounding here, eliminating some of this flange there, if that could be done. Now let's go beyond just simple, size and weight stats, and let's look how they work. One, they both have excellent retention. Both hold really well. Back this one a little bit. This one's a little bit, I got it a little bit too tight maybe. There. Okay. Now, one of my big concerns with the micro carry pistols is accidental disengagement of the magazine, where you end up with it like that, whether it's in your holster or in your pocket. And that's one reason I like the paddle magazine release, is it puts it up here where the magazine release is actually protected by the trigger guard. So I like paddle magazine releases just for that reason alone quite a bit. However, the Hellcat has an excellent button magazine release. It's one of the best, I think, button magazine releases out there on any pistol. It's well protected from accidental disengagement of the magazine, but yet quite easy to use and operate. I do wish it was ambidextrous. Again, a paddle magazine release would solve that, but if it was ambidextrous, it would probably need to be non-opposable, so that you could push it on this side and not have it pop out on that side. Okay, back to the holsters. Got a little bit of a digression there. Easily distracted. The Desante does a good job of not getting in the way of the the magazine release. However, given the height of where this positioning your belt right here, when you put this on your belt and you cinch your belt down tight, it is putting a little bit of pressure on the magazine release. It's kind of preloading it a bit. And then it doesn't take but much of a bump and you've got a disengaged magazine. Now you could solve that, of course, by swapping this magazine over to this side, and it would be less likely maybe to get disengaged accidentally. But I like to have one, I like to, of course, if you've seen my other videos, I advocate primary presentation of your firearm, either left hand. You can check my other videos to find out why I say that. And so I like if I'm going to use a button magazine release and it's not fully ambidextrous, I want it on the same side as my slide release. If I had a slide release over here, I might swap that magazine release and then plan on doing mag changes from this side with this hand. But since I can't move this over, I'm going to keep the magazine release on the same side as my slide release. And that's kind of because I don't much care for slingshot. It's especially on pistols like this that don't have good slide serrations. It's easy to lose your grip and not to operate the slide, get it all the way back or release it properly. And then also it kind of hangs up on this ledged sight there and ends up with bruising my hand. I got sensitive little hands. Okay, now let's look at the how well these holsters protect the trigger. That's probably one of the key things to look at, I think, on any holster, and why I don't like soft holsters. And a good Kydex needs to provide good coverage, and the Desante Slim Tuck does that in spades. It's got full coverage of the trigger and even wraps around underneath the pistol so that there's no way anything is ever gonna fucking get in there and hit the trigger. Now the Boraii, unfortunately, is not doing quite as good a job. We see we have some gaps there, a little bit of a gap there, so because it's not wrapping around, and then onto, so it's not providing us quite as good a coverage of the trigger as the Desante. Now let's look at the Boraii with regards to the button magazine release. Now you can see this one's got a little bit, it looks like it's some protection for the button mag release. And it looks promising until you cinch your belt down. And now what we've done is you've preloaded. You see the mag button is actually settled in just a little bit. It hasn't disengaged, but it doesn't take but just a little bump, and now we have a disengaged magazine. And if you need this pistol, if you got a round in the chamber, that's what you've got to fight with. Something else both these pistols do a very good job is leaving space open if you're going to run an RMR. I'm not a fan of RMRs, but hey, each to his own. And both these have basically are cut away to accommodate putting an RMR on this pistol. Now looking back at the Desante, which is going to be my preferred, while I like the Boraii holsters for their pocket holsters, inside the waistband, not going to use it. Now the Desante as my choice for inside the waistband, which doesn't mean much because I probably will not hardly ever use it, but if I were to use it, I might want to get a hook, this hook here that sets just a little bit lower, or maybe put something in there that causes my belt to ride lower. That would solve the issue. If this just was set down a little bit lower, then the belt would run across there and would not preload that button magazine release. So here's some other things that I've done with the Desante Slim Tuck. You've got a lot of adjustability here. This rotates basically 360 degrees. It's on like a little tooth device there. So it kind of, once you get it screwed down tight, it locks in place. And I've actually, in order to try to solve the, with the belt coming through here, if you have this set up high like that, on this first hole, it's up there right where the belt comes right across the mag release. So I'm trying this one notch down low, which was a little bit, which shifts the pistol up a little higher than I maybe would like. I think I'd probably rather have that hole be about right there, right in the middle of those two. But but that you know, at least gets the mag release, the button mag release, clear of basically the belt line, and probably above my pants as well, so that it's kind of under the shirt and far less likely to be preloaded with the belt. And if you notice in this position where I'm running it not only low but pretty much a vertical position there, that when you cinch this down, it's going to snug this down against the holster, and so thus reducing the thickness a bit more. So that's a good feature. I'm thinking I probably would maybe rotate this, add a little bit of a cant to it. So when it rotates this maybe another 10 or 15 degrees like that. And so when that's vertical, that would give me a little bit of a cant on it. And then once I'm 100% sure if that's where I want this down low like that, this hook down low, or on this hole there, I'll probably, you know, cut that off just to eliminate that little piece there. Now something else, I mean, I noted that the trigger guard is well, the trigger guard is well covered. The holster wraps around the bottom of the trigger guard. It does also wrap a bit around towards the muzzle, and it does also wrap a bit here at the muzzle end, and so there's no, you know, raw sharp edges to poke into your body. One other little thing on the Boraii is, while the hook is nice, and that's actually easy to put on with this, it dons very well as long as you don't have the claw on there. But I can see that this flex here that introduces into the Kydex, the blue carbon fiber looking Kydex, which is really pretty, but I can see, in my opinion, on daily use, that's going to work harden and cause some problems there. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels and looks like to me. The Desante has a pretty robust hook. It feels like I can beat the shit out of it, and while it is only attached with one screw, it is to set down low. That allows you to, of course, to tuck your shirt down into that area. But it has a very robust point here. Doesn't feel like it's putting any undue stress. The flex in this is distributed throughout the length of it, so it's not in one area to work harden. So I think this is a better holster. Is it the best inside the waistband holster? I can't say. It's just these two that I have. I like this one the best, and I probably won't try any more once I do get my Boraii pocket holster for my Hellcat, because once I've back to the convenience of just slipping this into my pocket with the ease of putting my wallet in my pocket, that's probably how I'll carry this. Now there may be occasions, maybe a formal dinner or something, that get my James Bond on and go with the inside the waistband holster, and that might be pretty cool. It'll be cool to have. And maybe at the gun range, although it's the way I look at it is, if I draw the firearm out of inside the waistband, for me to put it safely back in, I'm going to take the holster off my body, put the pistol in the holster, and then put the holster back in inside my waistband. So probably not what I'd use that much at a range. I'd probably prefer to have an outside the waistband for if I want to reholster the pistol, but that's just me. May do things differently. This is the 9mm training laser. Highly recommend those. It gives you the ability to basically do dry fire practice and then see basically where your hits are. If you can see that the laser hit down here. So it's great for engaging light switches. The only thing is, you do have to, on most pistols, you're going to have to, at least rack the slide just a little bit to cock the striker. If you have a double action only pistol, it might be that just pulling the trigger every time will cock and fire it. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe.